Alright guys, I got the rest of the tubing in for the brake lines, redid a couple of the other brake lines, and then take it out on a test drive, see if the brakes lock up or not, and then we'll go from there, see what else I can get done. Let's get into this one. Alright, let's swap it out, or start mocking it up. Alright guys, so we got that off. I made a bracket off from the radiator standard, I guess, to hold the proportionate valve. So that works perfect because now I can build my shroud that goes across here, right along there. So I just have to do the lines to there, these two out to the front, and then this is my rear brake line. So I just have to cut this off, take that flare off and put on the correct flare, and then reflare it. Right now I'm trying to find my brake tool, my flaring tool, so as soon as I get that, we'll do that up, and we've almost got this finished up. So I'll show you how I bend the lines. So I need this one to go back here. So basically, I just kind of go like that. Well, let me tighten that down. And then I'll take that. So I'll mark it like right there. So I need it to come back, around, and over there. So that's what I'm going to mark it. And I'll hold that like that. You don't get any kinks. So here's the flaring tool. Make sure you put your flare nut on. Don't forget that. And then you pull that, slide that out. I use the one with the 45, the dies. Put it in top one. Like that. You don't have to make sure it's tight at first. Just sort of snug. Because you pull this and it makes it flush. There we go. Now we want to make it flush and tighten it down. Now I want, this is 3/16, so I want operation 1, 3/16. So then you just kind of make sure it's tight, and then you just kind of open it up. Whoops. That wasn't supposed to happen. There you go. Bottoms out. Now put your bubble in there, and then you go operation 2, which creates the double flare. And that should be it. And there it is. So this goes in there. And this one goes in here. Alrighty, so I've got the main lines going into the proportionate valve. I've got the rear brake line going out. This is going to the left front, and then that one has to go to the right front. I'm still waiting for enough of the tubing to go down there to go over to that side. So I may redo these. Might as well while I'm at it, but it doesn't look the best, but it's definitely, it works. I think it will. And this other nut that goes on this side, I lost it. I don't know where it is. So let me try to dig that around. But yeah, so until I get that other tubing, which will probably be here in a couple days. Amazon had it for 25 bucks for 25 feet of it, and this is that NiCad aluminum brass alloy or something. It's a lot easier to bend. When I went and grabbed a couple fittings from my local AutoZone, that same the tubing was like 75 bucks for 25 feet. So yeah, no, I'll wait. I already ordered it, so I'll wait until that comes in to finish this this line up here. Then we'll fill it up and we'll bleed the brakes, and we'll see if that solves my issue. Alright guys, so I decided just to leave these for now. I did find the other bolt, so I got that all bolted up, and I did get the tubing in for that one to go to the driver or passenger side brake. And then what I did in the back here is I figured, since I'm at it and the whole system is open, I decided to run, I had 3/16 running from that to the rear where it splits off, or where it hits the rubber hose that goes down to the axle, which splits off to the rears. So I changed that out to 1/4 inch. So now it's 1/4 inch line that runs all the way into the back along the frame rail. You can see it all the way there, runs all the way back, and now I have it right there. So now it goes so 1/4 inch from the rear to the front, the rubber hose here, and then splits off to both sides. So I did end up putting speed bleeders in, since I'm kind of a one-man show out here. And you know what? I still had to grab my son to help bleed out these brakes. I'm sure speed bleeders are the way to go if you're by yourself, but you know what, for me, I still did it. You know, pump it up 3 times, hold, open, close, pump it up, because I tried like several times trying to get these to bleed out without having someone come and help me, and it just wouldn't get all the air out of the system for some reason. So I did that. We got it on this side. And that's the new line that runs from the other side. We're filled up with fluid. The brake pedal feels pretty good. This looks like an amazing piece of steampunk art, so I'll go with that. I mean, I know they say you put the little whipper wheels in there for like movement from the frame to this, but for me, especially this 1/4 inch one, it's we're just gonna go with brake cooling on this. Yeah, I have more line here for brake cooling, but also if it does wiggle around, it won't crack a fitting or whatever. But we're all set now. Alright guys, I'm gonna have to kind of hold this, I guess, because I don't have any real way of not holding it. So if I throw the camera to the side, you know something went wrong. Alright. Alright, here we go. What I'm doing is I'm just driving down our road, and then I'm going to turn around and drive back before I get too crazy. I just want to make sure it'll stop. Turn around again, go in reverse. And drive. Huge bump right here in the road. Alright, so let me bring it in and check the brakes, make sure there's no leaks. And then go from there. Alright guys, I got you kind of set up over here. Trying to figure this out here. There we go. Alright, let's try this again. There's no leaks. She seems to be running pretty good. Flip the AC on. Let's go around the block. Why not, right? It'll either work or it won't. Or it'll be a really short drive. Brakes are hanging up again. So, feel pretty good. We got the brakes fixed, guys. Big old bump in the road. All right. All righty. Not bad. Well, the test drive was a success. Brakes aren't locking up, they're still freed, so we fixed that problem. So now that I got brakes fixed, when I went out on a test drive, there's a vibration in the truck. So it's not like out of balance or anything like that. So what it is my pinion angle from the transmission to the rear end is way off. So I asked a friend about it while I was setting up the engine cradle, and they go, oh no, it'll be fine. And I was like, okay. So I locked it down, and well, that's not the case at all. So I'll put in a little video here of my pinion angle that I've got going on right now, and don't look and go ooh, because I certainly went ooh once I saw it. So I'll put that in right here. Alrighty, so the only way I could figure this one out, besides cutting off the perches, the leaf spring perches off the rear end, which was suggested from a friend of mine. You know, 4x4 people do it all the time when they have to tilt their rear diff or flip it or whatever they do to get those pinion angles right. So I jumped on the internet, actually YouTube, and there was an excellent, the best explanation of pinion angles was actually from Puddin's Fab Shop. Now, I'm a big fan of his show, or his channel. I watch everything that he does, and I found this was like 2 or 3 years ago. He posted up a very simple explanation of the geometry of pinion angles. So once I figured out that up, down, you know, down 3 degrees, up 2.5 degrees, well, if you get a chance, go to Puddin's Fab Shop and take a look at his pinion angle video, because it's very easy, very explanation, everything's good. So I ended up having to raise the rear of the transmission. Since I do have rubber motor mounts, it was very easy to lift up the rear end, or the back of the transmission, lift it up to get the correct pinion angle. So as it stands right now, I actually have my little diagram here. So right now I'm 3.1 off the transmission instead of what was it, like 5 point something in the video, and my rear end in the truck is a constant at 3.2. Well, 3.4, 3.2, depending on the load in the back, right? So I have this, I dropped it down with full weight of suspension on it and everything like that, and it gave me a 3.2 degrees down. So if you have your center point of your engine, or a center point of your truck, everything that goes this way is down. Everything that goes this way is up. So that's the confusion that I found, because everyone says, oh, my rear end is pointed up by so many degrees, and my transmission is pointing down by so many degrees, and that's not it. So when you have your point, so this is your center line, so your drive line is like that. So everything is down towards the center line, right? So the rear end is not going this way. If it was going this way, it would be pointing up, right? It's still this way, so it's still pointing down. So the whole point is trying to get the working angle of the transmission and the working angle of the rear end in line. I'm not going to get into the specifics of what people say the degree should be for a plus minus for the proper angle of all the drive shaft stuff, because, you know, I followed that rule. So my front transmission is 3.1 degrees down. Now my rear end in the truck, or the pumpkin differential, is 3.2 down. So I'm within 0.1 of that working angles from the transmission to the rear end. So and if you measure the drive shaft angle, is 0.4, right? So since everything is on the downward angle, you can subtract, right? So 3.1 on the transmission angle pointing down minus 0.4 will give you 2.6. So that's the working angle, 2.6 at the rear end. Now this is the best way I know how to explain it. I may be confusing others. If you've already got pinion angle down, don't listen to whatever I'm saying. Do your thing and set it up. So my rear differential angle, the pinion angle in the back, is 3.2 down. So you take 3.2 minus 0.4, and that would give you 2.8. So I am, they say standard is like what? 0 to 3 degrees, something like that. I think that's the standard, or 0 to 5 degrees is like a good measurement in between there. So if you were to take those two numbers, I am 0.2 degrees difference. If that makes sense. So I'm well within any of the operating specs that are thrown out there for the pinion angle. So, I have not got to test drive it yet with the new pinion angle, but I will tell you that the engine looks much better in the engine bay. It doesn't look so rear end heavy. The drive shaft is now, the drive shaft was like this because of that lower angle. Now it's like that, kind of like how it's supposed to be. It is like how it's supposed to be. And so in order to accomplish those correct angles, I thought I would have to either move the perches or rebuild the engine cradle for the mid-engine mount to get the engine up higher in order to have a better angle, degrees of angle. But since I do have rubber motor mounts in the front and I'm not solidly locked into anywhere up there, I just raised the rear end. There we go. So here's the front of the motor, just like it is. So I raised the rear of the transmission up 1 inch. Bringing it up to 1 inch made all my working angles correct. Which in that case, and also the side benefit of that is that I now have 1 more inch of clearance underneath the truck for the drivetrain. I'll take that all day long. So yeah, so that's what we got going on. Then my cooling fans decided to stop working in the Transit, which is my daily driver, so I had to fix that. That's why I didn't test drive that. So I think that's probably all that I'm going to get into right now. Yeah, so I appreciate you all just kind of bearing or hanging in there with me as I'm figuring out all these little bugs or whatever, test driving, finding something, test driving, finding something. But hey, I keep stressing, I can't stress enough that this is what happens in the last remaining bit of projects. You know, I'm not going to drive this 23 miles to my job when if my drive shaft blows out or if the brakes lock up or if it overheats or whatever like that. So all I do is I'll make a change, and then as per the video, I'll just drive down my road, turn around, drive back, turn around, drive back. If everything seems to not be a problem, then I'll go around the block a couple times, bring it in, make sure everything's right or whatever, make whatever adjustments, and then do it again. And that's how you kind of like do the shakedown on these projects. Again, I'm glad you guys are sticking it out with me as I work through all these issues. And hey, go out there and build something cool. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.